Hey guys, what is going on? Anthony here with Pistons Talk. Hope you guys are having a great night so far. What I wanted to do was make a Bleacher Report reaction video. I feel like I haven't done one of these probably since like the NBA draft stuff. So they wrote an article about one trade every NBA team can make, and obviously I did read this, article beforehand. Thought this was actually kind of interesting. Don't know if it will actually happen, but hey, you never know. They did a Tim Hardaway Jr. trade piece, and that happened, but not saying that this will happen. I want to give my reaction to it, my thoughts, if I think it's possible, all that good stuff. So we're going to go over down to the Pistons trade in this article and react to that. So let's get into it. So, in this article from Bleacher Report, they have the Detroit Pistons making a trade with the Brooklyn Nets. The rebuilding Brooklyn Nets have just got a crap little picks for Mikal Bridges. So let's see what Bleacher Report has proposed in this trade. So the trade, I will highlight it for you guys right here. Jaden Ivey to Brooklyn Nets for Cam Thomas. Okay? That is the trade that Bleacher Report is proposing. I will try to dissect each part of this article in terms of what they're saying and what I honestly think of it and react to it. So they go on to say Detroit's new front office has tinkered with its roster construction around Cade Cunningham. This trade would mark more than tinkering, but it gives Cade Cunningham a better backcourt fit. That's all that matters. Okay, so let's start with this first part of the article talking about trading Jaden Ivey to Brooklyn and Cam Thomas to Detroit. Detroit's new front office has tinkered with the roster construction. That is true. Trajan Langdon has come in, has added shooting guards like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley to this new Detroit Pistons team. I do agree with that there. In terms of this trade would make more... Oh, actually down here. My bad. It would give Cade Cunningham a better backcourt fit. That's all that matters. Okay, so here's the thing with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, which this is a really weird conversation because I think there are two sides of the fence when you talk about fit, when you talk about backcourt with the Detroit Pistons right now, because there are some people on the fence of we have to give Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham more time to develop. They haven't played that many games. It's a really small sample size, but we have to give these guys more time to grow, get their chemistry better, and just grow as individuals on the basketball court. And I tend to agree with that argument, but you also have the other side of the fence of Pistons fans saying Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey were a bad fit day one. There were tons of people in the community that didn't want the Detroit Pistons to draft Jaden Ivey because they didn't see those two as an ideal fit in the backcourt together. I think both things can be true. I think that the Pistons need to be more patient with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham in the backcourt, but I also think there's a world where if Jaden Ivey doesn't become a more consistent three-point shooter, then the fit next to Cade Cunningham is in question. But when you talk about Cam Thomas, and I know I just went on a rant with Jaden Ivey and the backcourt fit, Cam Thomas at the end of the day has one elite skill, and that is score the basketball. I remember watching him out of LSU, and I was really surprised during his draft class that he did slip as far as he did. But he already has an elite skill in the NBA, and that's just score the basketball for the Brooklyn Nets. So they also go on to say that Ivey might be able to learn with the basketball, but his shaky shooting and limited off-ball value hurt this partnership. The Pistons could have interest in seeing whether Thomas, a superior shooter and something out of nothing scorer, proves a better complement to Cade Cunningham. Now, here's the thing I will say about Ivey. So what Bleacher Report is saying, like his shaky shooting. I wouldn't call it shaky, it's just inconsistent right now. And I think that's to be expected with a player that is still pretty young. Because we saw this season, I think it was like right before the All-Star break, Jaden Ivey was shooting close to 40% from three, right? That's the type of shooting guard that Cade Cunningham would need when we talk about spacing with this team. I think Jaden Ivey has the potential to reach that. I don't know if it's going to be next season. I know the Pistons did just hire Fred Vinson as their shooting coach, and I think Jaden Ivey is really going to benefit from working with the shot doctor like that, working with Fred Vinson, getting more consistent, working on his off-ball catches. Because if you watch Jaden Ivey catch the basketball when he's running off a screen, or coming off a pin down, or there's a DHO, he kind of holds on to the basketball. He kind of hasn't really figured out the art of, like, when you watch Klay Thompson catch the basketball, it's just all one motion. Jaden Ivey's still kind of learning the process of catching the basketball and then shooting it and making it into just like a natural all one motion. Like you see like the elite shooters like Klay Thompson. You even see guys like point guards like Jamal Murray do it really effortlessly. I think that's the next stage of development with Jaden Ivey, and I think he can work on that. But I don't really think that his off-ball value has hurt like the backcourt with Cade, like Bleacher Report is talking about. I think there's still a lot of room to grow. So the part where they're talking about how Cam Thomas is just a superior shooter and how he can basically create nothing into something, I do agree with that. I think when you watch Cam Thomas play, he's probably one of the most purest just bucket getters in the NBA right now. Like, would not surprise me if you saw Cam Thomas in Sixth Man of the Year conversations, because that's just how talented he is. Like, putting up 22 points a game this past season, a career high, by the way, I think is a really good accomplishment. And like I mentioned at the top of this video, like, his elite skill is scoring. Like, he can score the basketball at the end of the day. But I don't really think there's that much of a drop-off and a difference between a Cam Thomas and a Jaden Ivey. Now, they also go on to say about this would functionally be a challenge trade, as each side would wager it could bring more out of the incoming player than previous employers had. If the Pistons guessed right on Thomas, they'd give their offense some badly needed scoring punch while also improving the spacing and taking some heat away from Jaden Cunningham. Now, this is where I do want to get into it. Obviously, I do agree with them. I think a 1-for-1 trade for Jaden Ivey and Cam Thomas, I don't think would actually happen. I think if there were talks with Brooklyn being interested in Ivey, you have a bunch of picks. Now, I'm not saying, like, give us, like, all those picks you got from the Brooklyn Nets trade, because you're probably banking on that to get you Cooper Flack, right? I'm not going to be unreasonable here, but I think if the Pistons were to trade away Jaden Ivey, they would probably want a first. And I think Brooklyn would probably want a first for Cam Thomas as well. I really do. I think Cam Thomas is just a really good basketball player at the end of the day, on the offensive end of the floor anyways. In terms of, giving their offense some badly needed scoring punch, well, I mean, you just signed Tobias Harris, who's going to probably start at power forward and, get you 16 to 17 points, a secondary option next to Jaden Cunningham. You just traded for Tim Hardaway Jr., who could easily start, could easily come off the bench. That's around 14 to 15 points. And you just signed Malik Beasley, who's just a sharp shooting sniper out there, who's going to add more scoring punch to this team. I don't think that the Pistons are going to just go from a 14 to like a 50-win season with all those additions. But I do think the offense will be better this season because we added guys that can score the basketball, and also they're veterans that can teach the vets some new tricks. You never know. But honestly, when I'm looking at this trade, my honest reaction, you guys, I'm not really a fan of it. I don't really think a 1-for-1 Cam Thomas, Jaden Ivey trade makes a whole lot of sense for either side personally. But I always like to know what you guys think. What do you think of this trade proposal from Bleacher Report? Are you a fan of Cam Thomas for Jaden Ivey straight up? Are you for it or are you against it? Let me know down below in the comment section down low, and I'll talk to you guys down there. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe, take care, and hope you guys have a great night. Peace.